Now, as I said, we'll put a second receptacle somewhere on this wall. I need to find where the stud is and put it in accordingly. Because the bathroom is a bit larger, you might need a second receptacle for something in here. So it makes sense to put it in. Now, because it's within 10, 12 feet of where the shower is going to be, I forget what the code is on that at this point, but since there's going to be a shower here, it's still close proximity to water for that receptacle. I'll put a second GFI receptacle in there. When I put my other receptacle right behind it out in the hall, I don't need a GFI there because it's a separate room. But it makes sense, since I've already got power here, I might as well just run a short wire to another box outside for a receptacle for the hall for vacuuming or what have you. So that will be the one circuit. Oh, and also, I'm sorry, I also then have to run off of that receptacle in through the wall up to here, where I'm going to put a double toggle switch and then a 3-wire, 12 3-wire up through to the center of the ceiling for where the fan light is going to go. You need the 2 switches here and the 3-wire to make them operate independently. There may be times you want to come into the bathroom, you don't want the fan on or don't need the fan on, so you don't want to have one switch that turns on both. There might other be times you're in the bathroom where you just want the fan, you don't need the light. So you've got that option with the double toggle switch and the 3-wire. So that's the one circuit, that's the 110 20 volt circuit that's going in here. Now the second circuit, the second wire that's coming up, I'll bring from the other side of the house over in here, and that will strike somewhere under the window here when I put that small fan-forced heater in here. Again, that's not a priority right now. That's a dead receptacle there. That's going, that wall needs to be repaired, so all that's going to look different. But all I need to do is run one 12-2 wire here for that heater, but it's going to be a 220 volt breaker, a 20 amp 220 volt breaker for the heater. It's a heavier electrical thing. It's got the same basic draw as one of the baseboard electric heaters, so a 12-2 wire will do sufficiently. The third circuit that's coming into here is going to be for the hot water heater that I'll put in here. Now again, I'll run that up from the bottom into here. That requires a 10-2 piece of Romex and a 30 amp 220 volt breaker in the panel box. It's a heavier load on the hot water heater than normal use. It's not as heavy, say, as a dryer or an electric stove, but it is a heavier load. So I need the 10-2 wire, the thicker wire, and I'll just run that up through the floor and splice it into, on the top, there's a connecting box on the top of the hot water heater to make my connection. So when this is all said and done, there'll be actually 3 electrical circuits in here, covering all the basic needs you would need for power in a bathroom. Now, the other thing too is by putting the junction box in the closet, if in the future we decide to make some kind of changes, I can't imagine what they'd be at this point, but if we decide we need to either remove or add another run of electricity in here, maybe somebody decides to get creative and they want to put an LED rope light around the ceiling or something, they need a connection for that and they have to run a wire up to the ceiling for a receptacle up there or something. You know, it could be anything. I already have an access point to tap into the electrical circuit with the junction box. If I ran them right into the recess boxes in the wall, I'd have to rip something open to get more wire in. Whereas this way, I can make what changes I need to fairly simply because there is a junction box available. Because this is the inside of a closet, I'm not worried so much about hiding wires. It's inside a closet. There's going to be a hot water heater in there. It's not a closet that people are going to use for anything like putting clothes in or what have you. Basically it's a utility type of closet, a utilities type of closet, I could say, because the plumbing and electrical is now in there. So that's going to be the plan. I'll show you in the next video how we prep the junction box. Electric work is logical and it is fairly easy to do if you keep a few important things in mind. Obviously, you always work from end of the line back towards the panel box. Your last connection you always want to make is in the panel box. That way, any work you do downstream, the lines are dead. You don't have to worry about getting a shock. If you're doing repairs, obviously you want to make sure that you turn off any electrical devices or connections in the room where you're working. Turn off the breaker at the panel box. Then you know you're not going to accidentally give yourself a shock. It is possible to die from a 110 volt electric shock if you get it hit exactly right. If it goes up one side of your body and down the other and goes through the heart, it can stop the heart, even 110. So you don't want to take any chances. A few common sense safety precautions, and electric work isn't that difficult. And I'll show you more of that as we get into it. But the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to prep this junction box to put in the wall. All right, so hang in there.